there are some fundamental truths in life. There will be traffic. Our spouse or significant other is going to be annoyed with us at times. Our diet always starts on Monday. Another fundamental truth: every effect has a cause. We know this as the principle of cause and effect. Here are some examples. Cause: there was a traffic jam on the freeway. Effect: I'm going to be really late for work. Cause: I forgot my anniversary. Effect: my spouse is less than pleased. Cause: I still haven't reached my goal weight. Effect: well, my diet starts Monday. You get the idea. Here's what's funny. When I experience something and the effect is great, I am the first to take credit. I think, this happened because of me. And on the flip side, if I experience a negative effect, my reaction is the exact opposite. In those moments, I tend to direct the blame toward anyone or anything but me. So say, if I lose my keys, I blame my husband, or the kids, or the weather, or even the dog. Yeah, I blame the dog. Sometimes we can immediately see the negative effect or influence that results from something we said or did. We're late for a big meeting, or our spouse won't talk to us. But there is another effect that we may not be aware of. We can lose influence. Here's what I mean. Maybe we're not just occasionally late for work, but we're late most days of the week. And this may have negative results, particularly when it comes to our relationship with our boss. But beyond that, this may impact our influence with our coworkers. We may be amazing at doing our job, but maybe we develop a reputation among our team for being late or unreliable. And when that happens, our influence drops. Or maybe we tend to forget things that matter to our spouse, like, our anniversary. Or maybe we forget to do things they need us to do. Or maybe we pay less attention to them than we do the TV show or being with friends or work. Over time, these choices can diminish our influence. How we treat people can increase or decrease the effect and influence we have on the lives of others. Over time, if those interactions are negative, people may stop trusting us or stop wanting us to be around. And as a result, we can lose our positive effect or influence. Before we even realize it, our relationships have changed, and we can end up feeling like we can't get back what we lost. Losing influence happens to all of us. No one is exempt from it, because none of us are perfect. We all make decisions that create distance between us and the people around us. But is that irredeemable? Do our past actions write the end of the story, or is it possible to change the negative effect to a positive one? With each week, we've looked at how we have the potential to affect others. We've seen Jesus use what a small boy had to offer to create a massive impact. And we've seen what can happen when a group of people work together to have an impact. As we wrap up this series, we're going to look at a woman in the Bible whose influence nearly hit rock bottom. In her culture, women already had less influence than men. They were seen as property and therefore had very little value. In this case, the woman made some pretty bad decisions that led her to lose what little influence she did have. Her encounter with Jesus was recorded by Luke, a physician and researcher who spent time with people who knew Jesus and wrote down their stories. This account begins with a dinner invitation. When one of the Pharisees invited Jesus to have dinner with him, he went to the Pharisee's house and reclined at the table. For context, the Pharisees were Jewish leaders who were singularly dedicated to following the religious laws. And because of that, they were confident they had a positive effect on others. So confident, in fact, that they looked down on others who seemed to have less influence. With that in mind, here's what happened next. A woman in town who lived a sinful life learned that Jesus was eating at the Pharisee's house. So she came there with an alabaster jar of perfume. As she stood behind him at his feet weeping, she began to wet his feet with her tears. Then she wiped them with her hair, kissed them, and poured perfume on them. While this sounds strange to us today, foot washing was very common during that time. People spent all day walking on dirt roads in sandals, so it wasn't unusual to wash your feet when visiting someone's home. What made this moment different was the woman wasn't using water to clean Jesus' feet, but an expensive jar of perfume. Which means this was about more than clean feet. It was an act of worship. She was giving something of value to Jesus. And the Pharisee had some opinions about it. When the Pharisee who had invited him saw this, he said to himself, "If this man were a prophet, he would know who is touching him and what kind of woman she is, that she is a sinner." The Pharisees assumed that someone like Jesus, a person of tremendous influence, would back away from being touched by a sinful woman. Instead, this woman was exactly the kind of person Jesus was drawn to, and the kind of people drawn to Jesus. People with no influence were drawn to Jesus. People who were sinners were drawn to Jesus. People who had negatively affected others were drawn to Jesus. This woman knew she had a bad reputation and no influence or respect in this group. But that's what drew her to Jesus. Her appreciation for Jesus was fueled by her own inadequacy. She didn't hide from Jesus because she didn't measure up. Instead, she got close to him and worshiped him. Look what happened next. Then he turned toward the woman and said to Simon, "Do you see this woman? I came into your house. You did not give me any water for my feet, but she wet my feet with her tears and wiped them with her hair. You did not give me a kiss, but this woman, from the time I entered, has not stopped kissing my feet. You did not put oil on my head, but she has poured perfume on my feet. Therefore, I tell you, her many sins have been forgiven, as her great love has shown. But whoever has been forgiven little loves little." Then Jesus said to her, "Your sins are forgiven." Simon the Pharisee looked at this woman and probably saw her as nothing. But when Jesus looked at her, he saw something completely different. He saw potential and purpose for her future. See, up until this point, the cause and effect of this woman's life looked like this. Cause, she was a sinner. So effect, people looked down on her and thought negatively about her. But this was the cause and effect of Jesus' response to her. Cause, Jesus loved her. So effect, Jesus forgave her and gave her a new start. In fact, what's incredible about this woman's encounter with Jesus was that after that moment, she had more influence than she could have ever imagined. Her story was recorded and has been shared for thousands of years. Her you effect extended way beyond the boundaries of her life. Because of her step towards Jesus, her story was redeemed through Jesus. Her lost influence, lost reputation, and lost standing weren't lost forever. She was given the opportunity to write a new story. The same is true for you and me today. No matter what you've done, no matter how bad of a person you think you are, no matter how people may have a negative view of you because of what you've done, you are loved by Jesus. And when we encounter him, our you effect shifts too. Just like the woman in the story, the mistakes from our past don't have to erase our potential for the future. Because of Jesus, we can change the effect we have on others. Maybe you can relate to this story. Maybe you've made some decisions you regret. Maybe you believe those decisions meant you weren't the kind of person God could or would want to use. Maybe you feel like those decisions have caused you to lose your influence with the people around you. Sure, God forgives, but people still talk, right? Can you even change that? No matter where you find yourselves, here are a few steps you can take to change direction. Reflect. Ask yourself, what small steps or big decisions are leading me to have a negative effect on others? Is it in how you speak to others? Are you too harsh or sarcastic in your responses? Maybe you're lying to the people who are closest to you, or you're pretending to be someone you're not. Whatever it is, take some time to think honestly about what may be causing your you effect to be not so good. Confess. If there are choices that have led you to have a negative effect on others, talk to God about it. Invite him into your mess. Just like the woman at the dinner party, we can approach Jesus no matter what other people think or say about it. He isn't surprised. He isn't mad. He is quick to forgive and accepts us just as we are. He sees us exactly as we are, people made in his image with incredible potential. Identify a specific step you can take. Determine how you can begin to rebuild trust after the negative effect you've had on people around you because of choices you made. Maybe it's apologizing to someone you've mistreated or lied to, or changing the way you speak to people, or asking someone to check in with you and remind you about the positive decisions you've made to change. Today, consider this. Because of Jesus, we can change the effect we have on others. Lost influence doesn't have to be lost forever. You have the ability to take a step in a different direction. And as you look around the room, know that that's true for everyone in here and everyone who isn't in here. Maybe you know someone who made some choices that disappointed you or made you think of them differently. If that's true, know that because of Jesus, they can have a new start too. And you can be a part of reminding them that they're welcome, loved, and accepted here. The truth is this: all of us mess up, which can move our you effect from positive to negative. And when that happens, you may be tempted to give up, walk away, or assume the story is over. But Jesus makes it so clear nobody in the room gets to say the story is over. He has the final say in your life. He has the final say on your value. And He has the final say on your influence. And when we take a step toward Him, He invites us to get up instead of give up, and to change our you effect one step at a time.